As the Obama response ad suggested, Senator McCain was eviscerated in the print media, not only for getting the facts wrong in the Landstuhl ad, but also for the sharply negative turn his campaign has taken. It appears not all Republicans approve his message. Some Republicans telling the New York Times they, quote, worry that by going negative so early and initiating so many of the attacks himself rather than leaving them to others, Mr. McCain risks coming across as angry or partisan in a way that could turn off some independents who have been attracted by his calls for respectful campaigning. Let's turn now to our own Rachel Maddow, the host of the Rachel Maddow Show on Air America Radio. Good evening, Rachel.
Hi, Keith.
Lost in all this, what is McCain offering as the reason for people to vote for him?
Well, he's not Barack Obama.
Okay.
That's the reason to vote for him. And while that might sound like a pitiful grounds for a man with the kind of career that John McCain has had to try to win the presidency, honestly, even though it sounds kind of depressing, that might be the strongest political ground that he's got. I think that a national election that is a referendum on Bush and McCain and the Republican Party in the last 8 years is an election that Barack Obama wins in a landslide. An election that is asking Americans essentially what they think about Barack Obama, which is what John McCain has actually turned this campaign into at this point. That's an election that Barack Obama might win, but he might not. As depressing and sort of pitiful as it is, this might be exactly where John McCain wants the campaign to be.
Does that explain this quote of the year from yesterday? McCain tells Stephanopoulos that in terms at least of Social Security reform, tax increases were not off the table no matter what he said about not raising taxes. And a spokesman comes out and says McCain might not really be speaking for the McCain campaign. Are they that lost so early in terms of the head-to-head and issue-to-issue? Are they that dedicated to simply don't vote for Obama, he's fill in the blank?
He's vote for not Obama is
Right.
essentially what they're saying. I mean, that's not the only example of the McCain campaign saying that John McCain doesn't speak for the campaign. They did the same thing on affirmative action, essentially saying, don't listen to what John McCain says, just allow us to be a vague, not Obama presence in the corner that you might vote for if we succeed in scaring you enough about Barack Obama. I mean, that's, I think, politically how it functions. But if you take it on its face, what they're really saying, if John McCain doesn't speak for his own campaign, what kind of president would he be? Is he going to legislate or lead the country with notes or with written communiques? Would we not be allowed to trust what he said then either?
It would be like when the great football quarterback, the late Bill Walsh, retired from the San Francisco 49ers and left supposedly a playlist, the actual plays that his successor, George Seifert, was supposed to call for the first 3 games of the next season. Maybe it could be done that way, only I don't know who would leave him the list. Maybe it would be Cheney.
Yeah.
This John Weaver, whom I quoted earlier, friend, confidant of McCain, who quit the campaign a year ago, to The Atlantic. It's a long quote, but I want your reaction to this. For McCain to win in such troubled times, he needs to begin telling the American people how he intends to lead us. That McCain exists. He can inspire the country to greatness. There is legitimate mockery of a political campaign now, and it isn't at Obama's. For McCain's sake, this tomfoolery needs to stop. Is that one guy who used to be on the McCain side who's just disappointed by what he's seeing, or is there any actual groundswell of opinion that McCain and his campaign are making fools of themselves right now?
I think this is the car crash between McCain of 2000 and McCain of 2008. And this is I think this is what we're seeing as the reaction, not only from people who have long worked with John McCain and who sort of wanted to be associated with the McCain of 2000, but to people who thought that reputation that he carried over from those days might end up being who he was in this campaign too. He said he was going to be the McCain of 2000. He said it was going to be a substance-driven campaign, that he wasn't going to be scurrilous and negative the way that he went after Barack Obama. And what his campaign is doing now with this series of now 4 negative campaign ads, nearly all of which can be factually disproven, with the sort of pettiness that they're throwing at Obama, it does seem pitiful. It does seem literally sad. If the guy who you thought was going to be running for president on the Republican ticket this year was John McCain 2000.
Maybe not. When we've gotten down now to arguing about arugula versus power bars versus McCain's $520 shoes, I don't think we're seeing what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
Rachel Maddow of Air America and MSNBC, of course. Great thanks as always, Rachel.
Thank you, Keith.